Hello and welcome back to my channel. For those who are the first time here, my name is Zach. I'm 22 years old Russian who left Russia because of the war against Ukraine. Today I'm starting a new rubric on my channel in which I will be telling you about news that are coming from Russia. And we start with this cringe video from the Ministry of Defense trying to hire more soldiers into the army. They were saying NATO, like machines, NATO tanks, do not burn. It burns in a way that then you'll freaking don't know how to put it down. Жги с нами means like fire it with us, like basically destroy NATO with us. So basically by this way they are trying to show like, yeah, hey, look at us, we already got some of the NATO machines and we are peeing on them. Basically we are, NATO's involvement, NATO's supply towards Ukraine doesn't matter. So look at us. So join us. This is how they want to attract more people into the army, by showing how two soldiers are peeing on the Western like infantry machines. Not even tanks, because you know what? They didn't end up hitting a lot of Western Abrams. They are left to pee on some, I feel like it's a French infantry machine, I don't even know. But how are you supposed to attract people into the army? Russia has its own engine search, something like Google. It's called Yandex. Yandex is a replacement of Russia to Google, and I feel like at one moment Russia is gonna ban Google like China did. Yandex used to be censored by the Russian government. This is why, for example, I do not use it, because basically it is impossible sometimes to find Western medias or to find something that would reveal Russian corruption. But sometimes when you Google right things, you can find anything. Like here, somebody tried to Yandex, basically means to Google something on Yandex, and what they Googled was a Nazi with a armband. And what eventually they found out that there is Shaman pictures. Shaman, the most Z Russian musician nowadays. This is a picture from one of his musical videos where he is going on a red square with this whole leather jacket outfit, and of course he has a Russian flag armband on his shoulder. You know, it reminds you of something, I'll put it this way. And here you can already see there are some comparisons between Shaman and basically Nazi Germany, and how Nazis used to have those armbands on their hands. And to be honest, well, it's not really far, but surprisingly that even Yandex, when you Google a Nazi with an armband, is gonna show you the real Nazi. Speaking of Shaman, by the way, recently the journalists, they found out that the thesis work of Shaman in university, yes, he studied in University of Music, and they found out that 19 papers out of 35 of the papers in thesis were actually copy-pasted, copyrighted. So, and nobody pays attention because Shaman, he is a great singer right now, the most favorable singer of Putin and of Putin's administration, so untouchable. Russian school kids are being made to send some kind of letters or some kind of postcards to soldiers to the front. The Ministry of Defense is trying to make school kids to send it more. The collection of letters for the military was coordinated and managed by the Federal Center, according to the documents obtained by the Ministry of Defense. Regional officials responded responsibly to the request and demanded that schools ensure the flow of letters. We ask you to organize the participation of school children in the action, and by November 15, 2023, to convey 2 packages of letters filled with warm words of appreciation and gratitude for courage and heroism, with the wish to return to their homes, families, lives, and well. This is what one of the letters says. At least 30 of the letters should be for the new year. The same number should be letters with wishes of recovery for the military who have been injured and are in hospitals. Regions already started to make reports about how successful they are fulfilling the goals of the Ministry of Defense of writing the letters. Here on the Russian social media VK, in one of the communities related to one of the schools, we have this post which is saying that the students they joined this Russian flash mob, which is called A Letter to a Soldier. And here we can see some schoolgirls writing letters to soldiers. And not only schoolgirls, the boys too. Look at their faces. This is literally my face right now when I read the news like that, when the kids are being made to write letters to the soldiers. And when I was in Russian school, we never would do something like that. I remember once veterans of the war in Afghanistan and veterans of the war of the Chechen war, sometimes they would come and we would sing something for them, or we would like listen to their stories, but never we would write letters to real soldiers who really fight anywhere. Here we have the same type of things, but it's already not even from school, it's from kindergarten. The kindergarten, they have their own community. Like, you know, like in the Facebook, you would have a community of people, right? And so here, there's this some kind of village called Taximo. Interesting. Oh, Taximo. I don't even know where it's located, but here it says, "Hello, soldier. We don't even know you, but I hope you're gonna be happy with my leather, blah, 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 blah. And my name is Danila, Russian flags." And here we see a bunch of kids' paintings to the soldiers. Just imagine, how are you being brainwashed? Just look at that. "Hello, dear soldier. I'm writing to you. I'm a boy. My name is Danya. I'm from the village called Taximo. I don't even know. I'm not even sure if I pronounce it right. I'm 6 years old. I go to the kindergarten and I do the soccer." I like machine guns, like rifles, machine guns. What weapon do you have? I know that sometimes it is hard for you, but you'll make it. I want to wish you to return home healthy. And oh my gosh, this guy is going to jail. This guy is going to jail. He's saying, "Let the peace happen. Let the peace come." Bro, you go into jail, you know that? You know, you are like 6 years old right now, but once you are 16, once the felony responsibility age is actually comes into play, bro, you are done. Just saying, you know, plan to leave Russia already by the age of 16. "A soldier, you will save our country. I believe in you." And here we have a picture of a gun, the word saying mir, which means peace. Bro, you're going to jail definitely. Oh, after that. And then there is a medal saying, like for honor, like the medal for honor. Oh my god. And all of those school kids are being brainwashed since like the very young age. And well, I can see that this is written not by a kid, but actually by 5 years old. Why did they photoshopped? Do you see those pictures in behind with like heroes and stuff? They are actually photoshopped. Like this is like the same three pictures. 1, 2, 3. What is that? What is that? Oh my gosh. I feel so sorry for the kids. This is so sad. Speaking of mobilized soldiers, a lot of them are still at the front lines. It's been more than a year, and a lot of them still did not return home. And this is crazy. And of course, imagine you are a wife, you are a son, you are a daughter, anywhere, like a relative of a mobilized soldier. Of course, you want your close person, your close ones, to return home and do not risk their life for Putin's ambition. And of course, people cannot just go to the streets and protest. They are being arrested. So what they do, they go on the social media to express their opinions. But even for this, they are being persecuted. And sometimes, you know, the government cannot even afford to prosecute people anymore because they understand that, you know, you cannot jail the whole country like it was in like USSR, because we basically saw the result. However, what they start to do, they start to write things to the people who complain in the social media about, you know, they are mobilized husbands, they are mobilized sons, they are mobilized relatives. And here, what they've recently started to send to those people who complain about it. Look at the situation from another side. There are many the same type of comments, and those comments are being written by Ukrainians who try to make the situation inside of Russia to explode. We want to give you a couple of recommendations. Firstly, do not write any hashtags in social media, on your personal papers, in the comments, or anywhere else. Do not put the keywords, for example, mobilization or justice. Justice, yeah. If you're Russian, please do not use this keyboard. Justice is not for you. But most important, we ask you not to write any negative comments in the posts in social medias, not to write any comments during the lives. Lives meaning like maybe like Putin is gonna give like a live. He has this thing which is like the direct line with the president. So they're saying no bad comments when Putin is like doing something like that, or any other official live streams, because they used to do those live streams on VK. Do not violate the laws of the Russian Federation, basically kind of like hinting like, hey, don't ever criticize or discredit the Russian army, because you know what, you're gonna go to jail for that. Do not forget that the posts and comments like this lower the rating of prestige of the military profession. As a consequence, it lowers the will of men to sign a contract with the Ministry of Defense. And it goes against the main goal of the Russian Ministry of Defense, to get as many soldiers hired by the Ministry of Defense. So basically what they say, if you are a wife or a mother and aunt, and you have your relative at the front, and you want to say to the officials whom you are supposedly elected in Russia, because they try to play democracy, don't you dare to criticize any of those officials who are responsible for those soldiers to be mobilized and who are responsible for this war to happen. Because firstly, you're going to violate the law of the Russian Federation, and secondly, by this, you discourage the rest of the men to go and sign the contract with the Ministry of Defense, because they understand if this happens to mobilized soldiers, how are they going to come back to home after half of the year of their supposed service? Russia is trying to find new ways to actually get soldiers into the army, and here, one of the ways, which is going to be extremely effective with the lower classes of Russia, who are extremely in debt. Like literally, people in Russia are so much in debt, and of course, a lot of them, when they die, their debts, they are going to their children, they are going to their relatives. And here, what one of the deputies in the Russian lower bracket of the parliament offered.
Вы помните, мы приняли закон 377, которым устанавливается возможность списания кредитов для тех участников специальной военной операции, которые погибли, либо получили тяжелые ранения, стали инвалидами. На практике этот закон применяется на отношения, возникшие после 24 февраля 2022 года, но обязательства наших защитников могут выражаться не только, когда они являются стороной по кредитному договору, но когда они являются поручителями. В том случае, если боец погиб, долги по поручительству переходят к его наследникам. Мы считаем эту ситуацию несправедливой и предлагаем внести изменения в 377 закон, которые распространяют возможность списания долгов, прекращения обязательств, вот при тех случаях, о которых я сказал, в том числе и по поручительству, если погибший либо раненый боец является поручителем.
So basically what they say, if you are a soldier, you died at the war, or you got a really serious injury and you became disabled, firstly your debts, your mortgage, your, anything like all other loans you have, they are going to be taken care of by the government. And also, if you were one of those people who are responsible for another person's loan or mortgage, basically, and if you die, your parents, your wife or your children are not going to be responsible for that. Oh, I wonder if oligarch children are going to be like, oh wow, if I take a mortgage and I die, and my parents or my children would not need to pay my debts. Oh my gosh, this is such a cool opportunity for me. I should go and die in Ukraine. Of course, no. no oligarch children would say that. But at the same time, a lot of the people from the lower class of Russia, from the poorest regions of Russia, for them, it may be a crucial difference. A Wagner soldier arrested and kidnapped his female friend. In Bashkiria, a former fighter of the PMC Wagner pursued his friend to give him a ride home because he was allegedly very drunk and could not walk himself. But the man forcibly dragged the girl into the apartment and raped her, threatening her with a knife. However, in 2022, a 25-year-old Oleg Mikhailov was already sentenced to 18 years in jail for murder. And after that, he signed a contract with the Wagner PMCs and went to the war, and already in April 2023, he was amnestied. He killed someone in 2022, got in jail, right away signed a contract with Wagner, went to the war, and already in April 2023 got released and committed another crime, raped a girl. This happened in Penza. Basically, local construction workers, they couldn't find anything to cover the sand they need, so they just used a banner with a hero, Abakar Ramazanov, Starshina, as his rank. And you see how, greatly those heroes are being respected by the ordinary Russians. In Yakutsk, workers of the enlistment offices decided to compete who was the best in mobilizing soldiers in 2023. And we don't really know the results yet, but we know there is going to be, money, prizes, and different honors for the best workers of enlistment offices. Well, I wonder if there's going to be a second part of this competition. A family of a mobilized soldier who got killed at the war, they were running out of wood. And yeah, you would ask, why would they need wood for barbecue or maybe to build something? No, they use wood for fireplace because this is the only source of warmth they can get in their house. And jokes, my great grandma, she was living in minus 20 Celsius for the whole winter, and she had no gas to warm up her house because the government, the companies, they do not provide gas to the villages because villages are extremely poor. And so what all those people are left to do with? They have to basically warm up their houses with wood. And here, this lady, who is a mother of one of the mobilized soldiers who got killed, not that only this family lived in extremely poor conditions, trying to warm up their house with wood, they came, take her son away, sent him to fight the war which he didn't even need to fight, the useless, pointless war. The guy got killed by Ukrainians. I mean, hello, what else do they expect? And then his mother is left with nothing, and some volunteers, local businessmen, they had to provide her with wood and to help her to prepare for this. Well, maybe she doesn't have the money to buy it herself, maybe something else, I don't know. But I have so many questions about it. Why is this the guys who have to do that, but not the government? Because since our government is trying to show oh, we care for the people, and they are trying to show they trying to play the Soviet Union. They try to show how the government is making all the money and is giving it to the people. But it's not the government, or it's not the local authorities who provided this lady with wood. No, it is just two local businessmen. I don't know. And how many cases like that happen around Russia about which we do not hear? And it just drives me crazy. And the thing is that those people are just, they're okay, it's destiny. We cannot change anything. Putin is our, God-sent leader. PMC Wagner officially is no more existing. And well, once Prigozhin died, we already knew that PMC Wagner is done. To be honest, even when the military coup was out there in June, we already understood that PMC Wagner is basically done. But today, it is an official day since PMC Wagner is officially disbanded. Andrei Kartapolov, the person who is responsible for defense, basically for the military in the lower bracket of the parliament, Gosduma, he said that the PMC Wagner is officially disbanded. And most of the soldiers, they are transferring to different organizations or Ministry of Defense. Another just, I don't know, it's from some kind of art gallery. Like all those pictures, sometimes I'm like, am I in Museum of Cringe? Like, what is that? So here it says an entrance to a meat store. So the store where you buy meat. And here in the lower part of it, you see the advertisements of serving in the military, of signing a contract with the Ministry of Defense. I don't know if that's was made on purpose by some of the activists. To be honest, I don't think so. I think this is a real advertisement, basically stating that, hey, if you wanna, if you wanna enter the meat supermarket, you firstly gotta become a cannon fodder in Ukraine. Look at that. We are waiting for you. We are waiting for you. Where? In the entrance of the meat supermarket. I don't know about that one, to be honest. In the city of Skemerovo, in the school number 56, parents complain about bunch of advertisements promoting the service in the Russian military. One of the parents say they hammer into their heads every day they have no prospects in their careers other than the army. Here we can see one of the pictures from a blackboard in one of the classes, and you can see just bunch of advertisements. 1, 2, 3, 4 advertisements for high schoolers to join the military right after the class. And well, I can tell that I remember when I was in high school, we would get like a person who would come to our class for like to give us a lecture about benefits of serving in the Russian military. Usually people would like most of the my classmates, they would laugh about it, but nowadays since there is so much propaganda, I feel like it actually may have an impact, especially when you read about all those money they offering. Here you see those numbers: 2004 to 24, 242, 232. Like all of those are the amount of money they are being offered as a salary right off the school desk. Remember I told you that Moscow is in Russia. Here is another proof of that. Basically, what Moscow decided that since November 1st to November 25, if you are going to sign a contract in Moscow, the Moscow government is going to give you an extra millions of ruble, which is about, I guess, 20,000 bucks, maybe less. Okay, maybe 15,000 bucks. So, but it's only if you are a citizen from Moscow. If you are outside of Moscow, if you are in other regions of Russia, you still get the same amount of money as like federal center decided. But if you are from Moscow, well, guess what? We got the cash. We got the cash because guess what? All the freaking taxes come to Moscow. The administration of the city of Irkutsk is sending letters to ordinary citizens asking them to go to the war because we are living in hard times. Here it says Russian Federation and the city of Irkutsk administration, which basically means the city administration. Today, we live in a really important times for Russia. It depends on us in which country our children and our grandsons are gonna live. A lot of people from our territories are at the battlefront right now. They are protecting the freedom and independence of our motherland, as it used to be done by our parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents. Every day, tens of citizens of Irkutsk, they are choosing the decision to be together with those who are doing the real man job to protect the motherland. And this is their personal decision, their volunteer choice to be a real man who knows for what they decided to go and serve in the military. History taught us that it's impossible to ask for peace from Nazis. You can only stand your ground. Together with the government of our country and region, we are providing help and support to the soldiers, and we are actively helping the families of the participants of the special military operations. I'm always in contact with our guys at the front and their families. They are not doubting our victory. I'm talking to you, to a human whose experience and skills are capable to bring help to our country. Motherland needs your help. Join the rows of defenders of motherland. And it's actually written by a lady who is like the right hand of the mayor of the city of Irkutsk. Torokhova, that's her surname, and that's her signature. And well, girl, why don't you go yourself and fight if you feel like, if you are talking about being a real man, if you're talking about being a real citizen, why don't you go yourself, girl? I guess it's kind of easier to sit in your foreign chair in your office and to call to fight the Nazis, to call basically invade other countries while you are enjoying your great salary working as a right hand of the mayor. Local journalists from Tatarstan, from the city of Kazan, they were trying to get hired by the Russian military from all those phone numbers and websites out there. And eventually, they didn't succeed.
Абонент не отвечает или временно недоступен. Пожалуйста, позвоните позднее.
Военный комиссариат Нижнекамска. Телефоны указаны в интернете. Мы настойчиво звонили по разным номерам, как звонил бы любой желающий заключить контракт. Но на том конце провода тишина. На второй день нам все же удалось дозвониться по одному номеру.
Добрый день, военкомат.
Да-да.
Я хотел бы проконсультироваться по поводу контрактной службы. По адресу ведь звоню.
Так. Сейчас я вам номер дам.
Ну, продиктуйте.
Сейчас я вам скажу. 317. 44 04 31.
Звоним по этому номеру.
По второму номеру никто нам не отвечает.
Yeah, that's how things are working in Russia. Like in theory, there is a hotline. In theory, like Putin gave an order to make it possible for ordinary people to see the advertisement, to call it, and he gave the money for that. And when it gets to the realization of it, yeah, all the people are. I can just imagine while they calling this number, all those ladies who are supposed to answer the phone. I'm saying ladies because it's usually the women who work in those enlistment offices. I don't know why, and they are sitting there drinking their teas with the faces like that, and they are enjoying their life, their salary, unless the Moscow is gonna send somebody to actually check how they work, and then they're gonna be basically, yeah, I don't even want to say this word. So yeah, kind of funny. Since the end of October, convicts, prisoners, are being controlled by enlistment officers in their prisons. Before the war started, if you are being put into prison, who the hell cares from the military office? Where are you? What are you doing? What's your military professions? You are an ex-convict. You were not really greeted and wanted into the army. But now, since the Ministry of Defense has seen the achievements of Wagner PMC, of Prigozhin hiring the convicts from the military, they were like, we can do the same. So, and they of course started to do laws to basically make it legal. And now, it's only one of the few steps. I mean, it's officially legal right now, but this document here, it's the order from 27th of October 2023, it's a change to the Russian law about the military. About, here it says, об утверждении положения о воинском учете, which means like the rules about military enlisting. So basically here in this document, they say that we need to add to the law those articles which would mean that we also need to enlist, or at least to have the database of all the men in the prisons, all the convicts, in case we would need to mobilize them. It's not being said in the law, in case we need to mobilize them. That's just my thoughts. Why else would they need that?
Владимирова Татьяна Михайловна. Ищу своего мужа, который пропал в районе Работино.
Я ищу своего гражданского мужа Головина Романа Сергеевича. Разыскиваю своего мужа Пантова Вячеслава Сергеевича.
Мы разыскиваем бойца Самойлова Дмитрия Геннадьевича.
Я занимаюсь поиском своего дяди Шмакова Константина Николаевича.
Ищу отца Шитова Владимира Александровича.
У меня пропал сын Константинов Юрий Викторович.
Значит, пропал товарищ Болотов Василий Васильевич.
Помогите, пожалуйста, найти брата.
Я ищу своего мужа Левкина Олег Евгеньевич.
And those are only the people who actually had guts to basically film something. How many of those are out there just being calm and afraid to even say a word? The most typical Russian advertisement. The help to homeless and dependent from drugs, selling fur coats, another help to drug addicts, and the servant in the Russian military. Those are the school kids who go to this regional organization, which is called Wimpel. So it's basically in the city of Krasnoyarsk, like the Patriot Club. They are being taught how to assemble, disassemble AKs. They're being taught by the real men. You see them on the sides, real quotes, showing what it means to be a real patriot. And what they do there, they make those handmade candles for soldiers, so they would sit in the trenches and warm them up. And here it says, good luck, defend, come back. You are an example for a growing generation, like for us, basically. By the law of Russia, if you are a male who left Russia like myself, in theory, in the law, to get out of the enlistment data, if you are living outside and you have a proof of that, for example, I go to college here, so my like college paper would actually prove that. If I would want to do that, usually in theory, they have to, like in the Russian enlistment office, they have to basically sign me out from the database of the potential people who are supposed to be enlisted. However, one of the guys who, like, you know, in the same situation like myself, decided to do that. And I mean, it's kind of obvious. It was obvious for me that that's going to be the result. But here, for those who are curious, the notice of rejection. So basically it says that if you want to be signed out from the enlistment office, you have to come to the enlistment office yourself in person with your passport and other documents. So basically, they do not follow what the law says. They just say, hey, based on nothing, we reject it, so you come here and do yourself. Well, nice try at the enlistment office. You're not gonna catch me like that. I know after this, I won't be able to leave the country if I do that. The governor of Tambov Oblast, Maxim Yegorov, offered to support the Russian soldiers at the front by basically giving them the salary of the governmental workers, which they would make per day. Basically what they did, they made all the government workers to give away their salary to the soldiers. I actually texted to one of my friends who is from Tambov, and she has another friend who works in the city administration of Tambov. And she said that she literally had to give out her 1,300 rubles, which is like, I don't know, maybe not even 20 bucks, I think 15 bucks, which is her daily salary working in the city administration. And she had to give away that money to the soldiers. And she was pissed off. She was literally calling those soldiers bastards. So that's just, you know, kind of shows the real support towards the soldiers. You see this picture? I guess some of you may guess what's that. So basically it's just pork fat. It's called salo. We eat it sometimes. I mean, Ukrainians also eat it. It's like Eastern European thing. Anyway, you see this picture and I guess you wonder, what's that? It's just being on sale or what's that? No, it's actually prepared. It's cooked. It's home cooked by the teachers of one of the local schools in Zabaikalia region. Here, as far as I know, there is 29 cans of the sala, which they're gonna send to the front lines. I didn't even know how to react to this news, to be honest. It's just hilarious, like 29, like salo from school. Like, I would understand if those would be like farmers. Why is it made from school teachers? Like, what is going on? I like this. It says, I would wish you power, being man, health, we are with you. And here it says like the name of the school they are actually sending this from. Enlistment officers also send people messages, basically spam on their telephones, like SMS, basically saying 295,000 of rubles you would get if you sign a contract with the Ministry of Defense. And here is the phone number. The journalist project iStories found a document that proves that the administration of the president gave an order for the enlistment officers to try to mobilize specifically those categories of people who won't be able to protect their rights. Those are immigrants, those are people who have a lot of debts, who claim their bankrupt status, people who recently became citizens of Russia. Those are mostly immigrants from like post-Soviet republics, from like Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. They come to Russia to work because the salaries are higher, and then they send the money back. And the administration of the president want to get those people in the military. Otherwise, they're gonna threaten them that they're gonna take their citizenship back. They're gonna take their passports back. PMC Wagners and just security guards, who are, they are supposed to have some kind of training, also wanted to be mobilized and to be hired by the enlistment officers. Also, ex-convicts or the people who are on probation, they are also wanted to be hired by the military. They are cynically taking those who are not capable to afford to hire a lawyer, or at least to have a consultation with a lawyer, to pay for the consultation. For the first time in Moscow, about 30 wives and relatives of the mobilized soldiers went to protest, went picketing, basically saying that here we say that the justice is a demobilize of the mobilized soldiers. It's time for mobilized soldiers to go home, return fathers to their children. It's interesting now, but at the same time, while this protest, there was a meeting or a rally of the communists because of the 106th year anniversary of the October Revolution. And basically what Zyuganov did, who is the head of the Communist Party of Russia, he went to those ladies and he started to, to put things down, to play it cool. And this is his main role in the Russian politics right now, because he's not even in a real communist anymore. He benefits this regime, like the capitalist regime. He benefits the oligarchs. He would never criticize the Russian oligarchs and the Russian system. And he's not really a opposition. Like, basically, he's a puppet of Putin, and his only role is to play opposition. I'm actually going to make a video about him one day. And he went to those wives and relatives of mobilized soldiers and tried to play it cool, and eventually somehow he did. It's also funny, so in Russia, if you want to have any kind of rally or any kind of protest, what you gotta do, you basically have to go to the local city administration and to sign up a paper that you want to have a protest at the specific place, at the specific date and time, with a specific amount of people. And those people, like those wives, they actually went and did that. And eventually they got rejected for applying to have a protest. And the reasons for that were the COVID measures. Who the hell cares about COVID measures in Russia nowadays? No one. It's just literally just an excuse. But at the same time, the Communist Party members who are connected to the government, they were let to have a rally at the same place, at the same time, but they were not criticizing the government and talking anything about mobilized soldiers. Hypocrisy. The last one I wanted to tell you about is that Russia is increasing missile stocks faster than Ukrainian intelligence predicted. Now the Russians have almost as many missiles as they had a year ago. The pace of production of high-precision cruise and ballistic missiles in Russia is growing faster than Ukrainian intelligence has anticipated. This conclusion was reached at the American Institute of the Study of the War after analyzing the statements of the representative of the main intelligence director, Vadim Skibitsky. In August, Skibitsky estimated the Russian stocks of missiles with a range of more than 500 kilometers at 585 pieces. Then another representative of GUR said that the actual release of some models lags behind the plans. Sooner or later, their own arsenal will reach zero. That was Skibitsky noted. However, already on November 6, Skibitsky said that now the Russian army has about 870 missiles with a range of more than 350 kilometers, and only in October about 115 ones were produced. This indicates that Russia has managed to establish missile production and maintain it at a sufficient level to accumulate a reserve, the Ukrainian military believes. A year ago, stocks were almost at the same level. And there are different reasons for that. It is still possible for Russia to get those electronics and chips from outside of Russia, from China. There are even some of the components that were sent from the US for all this 1.5 years of the war to Russia, which were used in caliber missiles. And there is a whole journalist investigation which was made by iStories. The parallel import really helps Russia to import a lot of electronics from Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, China, Georgia. Speaking of Georgia, by the way, a couple of days ago, at the border with occupied territory of Georgia, South Ossetia, where the Russian military bases are stationed at the border, one of the citizens of Georgia was killed while entering a church, and another one was kidnapped by the FSB, by the basically Russian border service. And it is just crazy how Russia, for all those years since 2008, is pushing the Russian border is called the line of occupation, and they call it a crouching occupation, like the occupation that goes by day by day. They basically move the border, and I've seen a lot of my Georgian friends actually go crazy, and there was even a protest in Tbilisi because of that, and there are still a lot of Russians who live in Tbilisi who are against the war, and I really hope that it will not cause a lot of conflicts because of that. But anyway, I feel like it's important for you to know that even though the war in Georgia was, lasted only 5 days, and right now it's kind of like at the frozen stage, but there is still, from time to time, Russia commits other crimes. It was me, Zach the Russian, as usual. I wish there's going to be peace in Ukraine, freedom in Russia. If you want to support what I do, there is a Patreon link in the description below. There is also a PayPal link also. Thank you so much for supporting me and watching my videos. See you in the new ones. Bye.